Hello my niños and niñas, it's Hefe back here with another video. A few weeks back, me and my friends were hanging out after we were done playing some Dungeons & Dragons, and my buddy turned on some random video of a dude singing. Give my life, no for honor. And just kind of let his algorithm do all the work after that. And while we were talking, we kind of got our attention taken away a little bit, because a video popped up of two people wearing medieval armor, using long swords, and just whooping each other. So we all just kind of spaced out, paid attention to what was going on the TV, and it's pretty cool stuff. They drop their swords eventually and just start like throwing haymakers. I'd never seen anything like it. I'd heard talks. I'd heard talks of armored MMA. Can't talk right now, but I'd never seen it in action. And it's some pretty cool stuff. It got me thinking, what other weird sports are out there that are like kind of niche, but also really cool? So I asked around, talked to quite a few friends, some coworkers, and I was like, what weird sports you guys know? And I found quite a few, you guys. We're going to rate these from 1 through 5 on how weird they really are. Because, you know, I feel like that sets a baseline for how weird these things could be. First one, like I said, we'll get into the armored MMA. Another word for it is historical medieval battle. That's the technical term, I believe. But it's two people wearing medieval armor. They're using a long sword, a mace, an axe. These are all blunted, by the way. Don't get it twisted thinking these people are beating each other like with sharp swords or sharp axes, because someone could get seriously hurt. The way to win is a normal MMA match, you know, a technical knockout, a knockout, or someone like just giving up. You can't fight no more. You're not allowed to go for illegal areas, which would be like between all the gaps in the armor, and it's pretty cool looking stuff. I recommend you guys look up armored MMA. Out of any of these sports I'm going to talk to you guys about, this is the one to look into. This is by far the coolest one we're going to talk about. So we're starting off with a banger. After this, it's going to get into like, I probably don't really even care about that, except for one of them later. And I will tell you guys which one. You'll know when you hear it, because I guarantee a lot of you guys have already heard about it. But armored MMA, it's kind of weird, but I wouldn't say it's like the weirdest thing. I feel like people do it at like medieval times already, kind of, but not really. Like they do the jousting. I'd give it probably a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 ranking on the weirdness scale. Next one we're going to be talking about is hobby horsing. Hobby horsing really took off after the 2017 documentary that came out in Finland, which is titled, let me read real quick. It's a weird title. Kepi Hevosten Velen Kumaus. I could be saying that wrong. I probably am.
Keppihevosten vallankumous.
But it's a documentary that focuses on young girls, which is what the hobby mostly centers around, is like younger girls. If you're a grown person doing this, I mean, no shade. Do whatever makes you happy. But it's mostly towards girls who are like younger, like before, like probably like 12 to 18 range. And they're taking a... It's so strange. I'm not gonna lie. It is like a stick horse. You know, the ones you used to get from Dollar General, where it's just a stick and then like a horse head, like obviously a fake horse head. That'd be gruesome if it was a real horse head. But it's not those kinds. It's not the ones from Dollar General. You're encouraged to make your own. And you can buy them on Etsy. When I was doing research for this, you could buy some on Etsy, and I think the most expensive one I saw was like $500. And that's nothing to scoff at, especially in this economy. Are you kidding me? $500 for a fake little horse to do this strange sport / hobby? I mean, it's called hobby horsing, but you know. It focuses on real life equestrian events. So, you know, like the dressage routines, the hurdles that the horses go over. And you're encouraged to do these real events that they go through. Like making sure you look like a real horse. Which I know sounds strange, but they make, like, they score you based off of how realistic the routine is. I was laughing at it at first. I was like, oh, this is silly. This is dumb. It's something for like little kids to do. And then I watched the videos. This is nothing to laugh at. Okay, it kind of is something to laugh at, but I mean, it's little kids doing it, bro. You can't be like getting mad at little kids for enjoying a thing that they do. But I couldn't do half these hurdles that they're doing. I probably couldn't even do a dressage routine. It looks pretty intense, you guys. I thought this was really funny and dumb. And then I saw these people jumping over these hurdles. And I was like, damn. That's pretty intense. My sister's the one that recommended this to me. I'd never heard of this. And she was like, you have to put hobby horsing in the video. I was baffled looking at it. I was like, that's stupid. There's no way that this requires any athletic ability. Could not be more wrong. We're going to put hobby horsing. It's really, really weird, you guys. I'm going to say it's probably a 5 out of 5 on the weirdness scale. But keep in mind, it's kids doing it. You know, I can't be laughing at little kids for enjoying something, especially because most of them are doing it because they can't afford a real horse. Next one we're going to be getting into is underwater hockey. This is the I wouldn't say the weirdest one, because obviously it's not. Hobby horsing is by far going to be the weirdest one on this list. But it is 2 teams of 6, and they are underwater with a weighted puck and a short stick, and there's a little net thing. It's probably, I don't know, 6 feet long and probably like 2 feet tall. My estimates could be off. I didn't see any real metrics for what the goal needs to be. It's more so just like a recreational sport that people do for fun. No one's doing this shit in the Olympics. All right. This one had me dying laughing seeing people do it because, like, it requires a lot of athletic ability. Most of these do, which I couldn't do any of these. Hand to God, could not do a single one of these weird sports that I looked into. As much as I'm laughing at them, I'd get washed. I'd be gone. But yeah, when I saw this, I was like, why are you doing this? They're not allowed to go up for air. You're only allowed to wear a snorkel and use your short stick. And you got to push a weighted puck into the other people's goal from across a pool. That's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive seeing people do this stuff because you got to hold your breath. No scuba tanks, no nothing. But at the same time, when I saw this, I was thinking about that show Heated Rivalry. I have not watched it. It's about gay hockey, for those of you who are unaware. Not like just gay hockey, like people wearing like a pride flag or something while they're playing hockey. But, you know, people playing hockey and then gay stuff happens behind the scenes. No hate to gay people. Got a lot of love for the gay community. Got many loved ones are gay. To El Jefe. Alright. But I was like, man, I ain't watched the show. I guarantee my fiance is eventually going to make me watch it. But they got to do the next season on underwater hockey. They have to. Because these people are wearing Speedos. And I was like, man, they could use those sticks. And they could, like, you know. Would be pretty funny if they did it. We're going to give this a weirdness rating of. I wouldn't say it's the weirdest by far. We'll give it a 3. 3 out of 5 on the weirdness scale. Next one we're going to get into is one recommended by one of my favorite coworkers. His name is Yoshi. Yoshi, I know you're watching. I told him I wasn't going to include this, but I'm going to. And it is Chessboxing. This one uses brains and bronze. It is 11 rounds. Let me double check my notes real quick. Yes, 6 of chess and 5 of boxing. So, start off with some chess, then you go into the boxing. You win either by a checkmate, a TKO, or just a straight up KO. I think this is probably one of the more interesting sports because you're getting your brain rocked around while you're in the middle of a chess game. I couldn't imagine doing something like that because I probably couldn't think straight after the first round. But the biggest one that ever happened back in 2022 with Ludwig, the streamer, and there was about 10,000 people in attendance. That's a pretty big number. There's not much more to talk about this one. It's just chess and boxing. So we're going to give this a 2 out of 5 on the weirdness scale. Our next weird sport that we're going to talk about is one that really blew up probably like 5 years ago-ish. Whenever Critical or Moist Critical or Penguin Zero or Moist, a lot of people are calling him Moist. Anywho, next sport we're going to be talking about is slap boxing.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Everyone has seen it, and if you haven't, look up some clips. This is the sport that I was talking about before. That is the most intense, crazy sport. It's pretty cool and not extremely weird. You're standing in between a small table and you can't move your feet. You can't flinch or anything like that. You can't close your fist. It's got to be a pure slap. Pure slap to your opponent's cheek or jaw. If you anywhere other than that, then you're going to get a penalty. This is one of the most devastating looking things you will see. Because by the end of a game, people's faces are all swollen and horrible. Especially that power slap thing that Dana White's running. I don't know if I think it's kind of frowned upon in the slap boxing community. Not exactly sure why. I didn't look into that. Probably should have. Too late for that. I'm already recording. I'm not about to look more stuff up. Come on. So yeah, slap boxing. It's pretty cool. I can't lie. I like slap boxing. I used to watch a good amount of it back when it was in its heyday, when Critical was watching them on stream. Vasily Kamatsky, if you know, you know. But it is kind of weird. It's a pretty strange sport. We're going to give this also probably a 3 out of 5. Because it's not crazy weird, just seeing how hard people can slap each other. But that segues us into something that I found out about while I was doing all my research. And that is the Pro League Network. Back in September of 2023, the Pro League Network acquired what I believe is the most popular slap boxing company. That is a Slap Fight Championship. That's the biggest company that I could tell from my research. And I don't know how much they bought them out for, but they got all their assets, their headquarters, everything. And it was a rabbit hole I went down, seeing what all sports the Pro League Network has. Because they have the weirdest, most niche sports you could imagine. They got this sport called Gorilla Game, where you are standing in a plank, not standing, you're in a plank position, facing your opponent, and there's a line in the middle. And the way to get your opponent out is by making them fall down, but you can't grab their elbows, I think is what they said. They didn't have any real legitimate rules listed on the website. They had some weird blurred line sort of thing, where it's just about taking down your opponent. You can't put your hand past the line. You have to make sure you're staying in a plank position. And if you leave the plank position, you get a penalty. It doesn't make any sense. All of the Pro League Network sports, other than slap boxing, are really weird. Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. Guerrilla Games, don't know who thought of it. Really weird. Another one they have is tire wrestling. I'm also not quite sure how this one works because they don't have it listed on their website about what the rules are. But from what I could tell watching a few videos, you have to be touching the tire and you have to make sure your opponent doesn't touch the tire. What are we doing, Pro League Network? That don't even make any sense. Who's thinking of these ideas? This is really, really dumb. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And they're huge tires, too. I'm talking like damn near monster truck sized, alright? We're going to give that like a 5 out of 5 on the weird scale. Not even because it's weird. Just because it's stupid. What are we doing? Another one they have is Coffin Wars. Coffin Wars is... There's, you know, it's a head-to-head battle. And it is... You're starting on the bottom, depending on which... starting position you get. I think it's decided by a coin flip. And you're starting on the bottom. You need to try and get out of the coffin, which I thought the goal would be to get your opponent out of the coffin. But no, you're starting on the bottom, so you have to try and get out of the coffin. It's just, they just got so many dumb sports. The main one that was really cool, that I thought was innovative, not innovative, I'm giving it way too much credit. Really interesting. We'll say that. Not innovative. It is interesting. That is card jutsu. It's just like the name sounds. It is jujitsu in a car. You both start. You're buckled in. You got to unbuckle your seatbelt. They flip a coin to see which side the person who won the coin flip wants to be on. And I think the strategic advantage is on the passenger side. Because, you know, if you're in the driver's side, you got the steering wheel on the way. And a lot of times when I'm watching it, I say when I'm watching it, like I watched it a bunch. Of the like 5 matches I watch, the person who's in the passenger seat just unbuckles himself and could just like immediately get over to the driver. But sometimes they could be going in the back seat. It's pretty intense watching. I'm not going to lie. Because like... you're thinking in your head like, oh, what's that person going to do? Are they going to like unbuckle themselves immediately and just get in the back and then try and like yank on the other person's seatbelt? It's interesting. We'll say that. We'll give this a 4 out of 5 on the weirdness scale. Because who the hell thought of this? Another interesting thing about the Pro League Network is they have really, really funny names for the people that play in these games. Some of the most interesting names that I found was Black Larry. Is there a White Larry? Very interested to understand that. I would like to see White Larry compete. Another one, Ground Shark. One of the first game of Gorilla games that I watched was Outlaw versus Raven. Outlaw, I think it was Outlaw because of his haircut. Could be wrong. It could have been Raven with this horrible haircut that I saw, but it was all bald and then basically just like these little tassels I have on my mask in the back of his head. That's the coolest thing that the Pro League Network has going for them, is these weird ass names. As much as I am seemingly hating on the Pro League Network, I do enjoy what they're doing. They're wearing their heart on their sleeve, admitting that these are strange sports that are unconventional, and I never would have thought about gorilla games or tire wrestling. That's probably because they're a little dumb, but you know, you're making up a sport. You got to throw whatever at the wall, and whatever sticks. So keep it up. Keep coming out with these weird sports that you guys are doing. I'm excited to see what you guys come out with next, if you have anything planned. Yeah, that's about it that I have for this video. If you guys have any suggestions on what weird sports could work out, I got one myself. I think it'd be pretty cool if we bring out like duels. People wearing like full cowboy garb. They have like airsoft single action revolvers. I think that'd be pretty rad. Yeah, comment down below which of these was the weirdest ones. Or if there's any weird sports that you would like me to talk about in the future. I could make another video on this topic. And yeah, that's about it.